So welcome once again, all of you. My name is Amanda Namai. I am Gogetters lead here at Generation Africa. And just to put into context what Generation Africa is about, not assuming that everyone may know who we are and what we're about. We are a thematic platform of the AGRF. You can see I have two logos in my background. So what we deal with specifically is youth entrepreneurship in agriculture in Africa. And we were founded by co-partners, and I'd like to acknowledge them at this point. We have Yara International, and I see Kira has joined us. We have Econet, Cotiva, Agra, and many of our participants here I see are from Agra. We have Syngenta Foundation, Sakao, USAID. So I'd also like to appreciate the presence of and also the head of Generation Africa, who is here, Dixon Naftali. I welcome you to give some remarks and also welcome the guests for the day. Dixon, over to you.
Thank you, Amanda, for kicking us all. Thank you, everybody. I can see a lot of our members are on the call. This is pretty exciting. I can see people from MasterCard Foundation here. Jahazi, it's been a while. I can see George Apaka has joined us. I can see my colleagues from Agra. I can see our Deputy President in Agra, Fadel. You are welcome on the call, Fadel, and everybody else. I cannot mention the name of everyone, but members, welcome on the call. So I just wanted to kick off by just refreshing our minds before we get our key speakers to speak to us today by saying that over 10 million young Africans enter the labor force every year, yet only 40% find jobs. 60% of them do not find jobs. At the same time, much of Africa suffers from food insecurity. Now, most entrepreneurs and investors see the agri-food sector as very risky and unattractive. Yet urbanization is accelerating on one side and rural economies are stagnating. And hence it accentuates wealth and technologies disparities amongst the rural and urban. Now, Generation Africa tries to bring the dynamism of youth entrepreneurs into agri-food sector, and it aims to strengthen the ecosystem that supports agripreneurs as they travel the perilous journey from ideation to scale. And so today we have a very interesting topic of the rural youth in a bid to achieve equality. And we have one of our go-getters. I'm sure Amanda will introduce her. And we also have, we are lucky to have the country director at Syngenta Foundation for Sustainable Agriculture, Juan Alassane, who will also give us some very good insights in this topic. So I'll hand over back to you, Amanda, and once again, welcome everybody for joining the call. I'll be engaging you later on a Q&A. Thank you, and over back to you.
Thank you, Dixon, for putting into context why we are meeting this afternoon. For those who are in the East African time zone, and morning or evening, depending on where you're coming from. So the title or the theme of today's meeting is how we can enhance the ecosystem to support rural youth in their agripreneurship journey. And as Generation Africa, we want to enable the youth to participate also in the UNFSS action tracks. So for purposes of clarity, for those who may not know, UNFSS stands for United Nations Food Systems Summit. And in March, we had the first members call, and it was aligning to action track number 5 that focuses on resilience. And also we had an independent dialogue the following month in April that also stretched that particular topic. And we looked at how the youth themselves can come up with solutions to build resilience to their own agribusinesses and how to be better adaptable to shocks that hit the food system, case in point with the novel coronavirus. And today we are now moving on to the next action track, which is action track 4, that looks at equitable livelihoods. And it's at this point that I will invite the members group lead, Henry Lagat, to further explain what we aim to achieve from this particular session and to put into context the overview and what we delve to come out from this particular discussion. Henry, over to you.
Thank you so much, Amanda. And I'd like to kick us off by looking at a survey that we did mostly recently. Yeah, so thank you all for joining us in this meeting. We would like to see how can we come together as players in this youth space, different organizations, how can we come together to enable our youths take on their entrepreneurship journey in agribusiness to maturity through growth and, facing all the challenges. Yeah, so recently we carried out a survey which was on the socioeconomic impact of COVID-19. So I'll just go through it quickly. We were able to get response from 27 countries. 30% were female, and 44% of the respondents were below 30 years. So some of the key highlights is that 92% of these agribusinesses said that they were adversely hit by COVID-19. Their businesses went down. The aspects that were mostly affected was number one, financial obligation. This is around 56%, 56%, meaning they were unable to, pay their suppliers, repay their loan, pay their staff, among other things. So where was the biggest strain? A large number said that they were unable to access their customers. That's 32%. And another 32% said, there was increased cost of doing business due to the restrictions and the danger that came in with the COVID-19. In terms of how did they cope, 25% had to close down the business, and they did nothing after that. They just closed down their businesses. Another 21% had to close down their business and diversify into other areas. A big chunk, 28%, had to reinvent their business and find new ways in which they could engage with technology in order to reach their customers. In terms of the interventions, so at this point where all businesses are trying to rebuild, 34% of the respondents who are youth said that, if they could get flexible financial instruments, this would enable them to, bring their businesses back to life and be able to, build resilient businesses moving forward. But in the long-term approach, they also propose that, they need suitable financial products. These are not only loans, but also insurances to help them, build their businesses and also receive incentive from the SME and government, as well as linkage to business support services. We also looked at the personal well-being, and a majority of the youth were really frustrated. And we are saying, as Generation Africa, probably in the near future, we want to see then how do we help these individuals get through the emotional and psychological stress. And what they propose is that 42% of them thought that if they would have if they would have had support groups where they could just go and share their frustration, challenges, and be able to get, solutions, that would have helped them cope better. So this is the survey. We will send the response and the results slides to you when we'll be sending our monthly updates. So be keen to look out for that. But back to what we're discussing today. We want to see then, how do we support, how can we enhance the ecosystem to support rural youth in their agripreneurship journey and participation in the food systems? And as Dixon has said, the population of the youth in the rural areas is quite high. There is lack of opportunity in terms of employment, in terms of, coming up with innovation. This can be drilled down to 4 areas. Number one, rural areas are seen to be remote, meaning that they lack the connectivity, the mobility in terms of, transport infrastructure, internet, and energy. So this causes a strain to this youth. So if you look at a youth who's in an urban area and a youth who's in a rural area, then they have 2 different realities. If one has to, if one is in the business of production, before they think of a market, the remoteness already brings in a challenge that they have to face. Number 2 is access to resources, and lack of resources, it hinders the environment for them to be able to innovate and to be able to, build their businesses. Number 3, civil participation. There is lack of government and NGO participation in terms of involving the youth in the programming process. And this is something that we had talked about during the United Nations dialogue that we had. It seems like every organization that wants to come in, they just come in with, the solution that thinks works for them, and they implement in the rural areas without, asking these youths what is the issue, what do they need, and what would best support them to come up with businesses and go through the entrepreneurship journey. And then lastly is education and skill development. The youth in the rural areas do not experience the same opportunities, the same quality of education as the youth who are in urban areas. And just to give a snapshot, the poverty rate in sub-Saharan Africa is at 41%. 41% means that for every 10 youths, 4 of them, are at risk of, not getting $1 or not getting any means to survive through the day. In terms of the population, Africa is known as the youngest continent because a majority of the people here fall within the bracket of the youth. So the trend going on this way, it means that we need to find a solution. Otherwise, we'll end up having youth who are unproductive, who are stressed, and who are unable to provide for themselves. So as Generation Africa, we'd like to look at this space and ask the rest of the ecosystem players, what kind of solutions can we come up with in order to help the youth who are in the rural areas? How can we help them to go through the process of ideation of business ideas, and how can we take them through, how can we support them to go through this agripreneurship journey so that they can become a success, employ others, and contribute to African food system. So at this juncture, I'd like to take it back to Amanda to introduce our main speakers for the day, who will be able to guide us on this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for you've been comprehensive and succinct in helping shed light as to what we aim to achieve. And I remember, especially about personal well-being, that came out very strongly during our last members call, where we had one of the go-getters actually talk about how challenging it was for him psychologically over and above the business. And as Generation Africa, we took it a step further, and we had opened up an opportunity for 6 of our alumni to go through coaching, personal coaching, leadership coaching, and business coaching, just to help them put things into perspective. And today, we also want to take a similar approach to identify what are the key challenges and then collectively come together to identify solutions. And on that note, I would like to introduce Millicent Agidipo. She is an Impact Award winner from last year's competition. Millicent stood out for us because her business was working closely with the smallholder farmers, women and youth, and she works closely with them to empower them, not only to improve, nutrition, but also build their leadership and also empower them economically. I will not delve more into that. I will allow her to tell you herself about who she is, her journey, what propelled her to do what she does, and where she is now. Millicent, you can turn on your camera and take the floor.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much, Amanda. I want to first of all thank everyone who is online. I appreciate this great and awesome opportunity to share with you what has been going on in our world at Achiever Foods, and also to see what contributions we can also make to enhance the entrepreneur journey of every entrepreneur who is putting in their best to grow the agriculture ecosystem. And so at Achiever Foods, we are on a mission to save lives with indigenous, organically grown turkey berry, help to promote. And as Amanda rightly said, we work very closely with women smallholder farmers, who are the core of our business. We are very concerned about building them economically, improving their livelihoods, and also at the same time helping them to improve on their nutrition, which is very key. Looking at the experience we had with the COVID-19, is really a wake-up call for all of us to ensure that our nutrition and our health is at its optimum best. And so for we at Achiever Foods, I just want to, over the period we've been through, I mean, we've had a lot of challenges building this business. And before I say anything, I want to say that by the grace of God, we recently won an award, and it is our latest award by the Ghana Agriculture and Agro Processing Awards. Our business has been named as the fast growing nutritional food brand of the year. And that is a great milestone for us at Achiever Foods. I mean, it really encourages us to continue doing the good work we are doing. And we want to dedicate this to pregnant women, I mean, and lactating mothers who are using our products to help improve their nutrition and their health. And so, not to waste much time, I want to share with all of us some of the challenges we've faced, especially through the COVID-19 period as a business, and how we've been able to overcome these challenges. So during the COVID-19 period, one of the challenges we encountered was that we had a reduction in our customer base. And the reason is because if you look at our business model, 60% of our model has to do with we stocking our products in the various shops, health stores, and supermarkets. And usually people have to walk in there to purchase their products. And because of the lockdown, many people did not have the opportunity to go out freely to buy what they needed. And for that matter, we really had a reduction in our revenue and our customer base. But this is what we did. We utilized our social media handles. We went all out because during the COVID, a lot of people were on social media. And so we went all out, advertised our products on social media, did some short videos always. And we also came out with some nutrition blogs. Initially, we were not doing that. And one of the reasons also was because in our community, a lot of people didn't have enough knowledge on their nutrition and their health. They didn't understand what nutrition diversity was. So we as a business, looking at the kind of food products we had, and we took advantage of that and started writing nutrition blogs, and sent it through all our social media handles. And through that, we realized that gradually our customer base began to rise, and because a lot of people could access it, and we were working with a dispatch rider who during the COVID they were able to transport or distribute foods to homes. So we took advantage of that, and we had an increase in our revenue. I think we had about 10% increase in our revenue because we had to quickly adapt to the situation and see the way possible. Another thing too that affected us was that our raw material source was affected. In our community, we work with the women smallholder farmers, and during the COVID-19, we were not having access to them because of transportation issues. And for some of them, because they needed, to survive, they began to look elsewhere, and engaging in other raw materials to sell to be able to make money to take care of their families. And so it was affecting our raw material source. So one of the things that we did was we went back to them, talked to them, reassured them that we were, ready to, go all the way out. In fact, at a point we had to support them with some financial, support, just to be able to keep them so that their focus is not shifted to engage into other, the farming of other fruits. And through that, we're able to regain their confidence in us, and our raw material source was more stable. Another thing too another challenge we had was to do with funds. During the COVID, a lot of prices had increased, and for that matter, it affected our production costs. And so we also realized that we had to be innovative. And luckily for us, we had some products in the pipeline which we had wanted to launch. And then because of the COVID and the fact that people were more concerned about their nutrition and their health, we took advantage of that and we launched about 2 new products. And these products helped us to be able to raise some more revenue and funds. And that also enabled us to employ about 3 more staff into our production firm, because then we had funds to be able to pay the employees and also be able to produce more to meet the high demand. And so that was how we're able to overcome that challenge. Yes, and basically through the COVID, we as a business have even gotten more opportunities. We've been able to penetrate bigger markets. And I also want to say thank you to Generation Africa, especially the Gogetters Competition, because it was a very good platform. It exposed that to a lot of people. Other business fraternities. We had the opportunity to be able to interact with people from Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, and our product improves, helps to improve health, especially blood health, helps to keep the immune system strong. They are organic foods, and for that matter, a lot of people welcomed it. And as we speak now, it's one of the selling points for us, being that it's an organic food. A lot of people are buying into it, and their teas, their powders, and their juices very tasty, nutritious, and I mean good for the whole family. Yeah, so those are some of the ways we're able to meander our way out during the COVID, and for that matter, we are still in business, and by the grace of God, we've been able to engage about 20 more women smallholder farmers because our demand is increasing, and also been able to employ about 2 more staff who are manning the marketing aspect of the business, to be able to help us grow. Now, I want to contribute I just want to end with this, talking about how to help youth-led businesses in Africa. One of the key things that I want to say is we need to be able to have guarantee for finance access. For instance, we are currently engaging a bank. We are looking at expanding our production and everything about the business. And we chance on an opportunity. And one of the things that they are asking is for us to speak with a bank, and the bank, if the bank understands our business, they will come on board as partners so that we'll be able to access that finance. And you know, when it comes to banks, sometimes issues with collateral and guarantee and all that. So I believe that if there can be systems where youth-led businesses can have access to collateral-free loans, and also have certain recognized institutions that can guarantee them to access finance, that would really help. Another thing is also about access to land. When it comes to agriculture, one of the key capitals in agriculture production is access to land. I'm saying this because currently we are looking at expanding our land to be able to grow more of the turkeyberry fruits. And so far, most of the lands that we have asked for, the prices are very high. You know,
We still have Millicent on. Or I hope the challenge is not on my side.
No, you're okay. I think we've lost her.
Okay. So I believe she was coming toward the tail end of her presentation, but I'm sure we'll be having her back for the Q&A. But for the far that she's given us, you know, her journey and how she's been able to pivot her business to ride on the opportunity that COVID-19 presented. And now I would like to invite our second keynote speaker. He's called Alassane. He's the country manager for Senegal at Syngenta. We do have an ecosystem development framework, and the pilot for this coming year is
hello.
Senegal. Oh, hi, Millicent. Yes, we lost you. But yes, we will be having a Q&A. I've already invited the next speaker, but you gave very, very great points, and we can definitely discuss more as we get to the next segment. Yes, so thank you very much. Alassane is going to tell us a little bit more about what he does and the ecosystem framework model in Senegal. So Alassane, over to you. And before on, if you have any questions for Millicent, please feel free to put them in the chat. We will be having a Q&A session after this. Thank you, and over to you, Alassane.
Thank you, Amanda. First of all, I want to thank you to give us the opportunity to share our experience for youth employment. The purpose of this presentation is to give you some overview of activities we have developed for youth employment. Excuse me, my name is Alassane Aw. I'm the country director of Syngenta Foundation in Senegal. I'm based in Dakar. Here we have different activities in our portfolio. We are working in seeds, in agri services to develop some business models. Our vision is to give bright future for farmers. We are working especially for smallholder farmers to increase his revenue, and we are very focused for young employment because youth is a big part of the population. Okay, to give you the context here in Senegal, I think it's the same in the many countries in Africa, especially in West Africa. We have a lot of young people, around half of population is young, and we are facing a big growing exponentially of unemployment. At the same moment, we have seen agriculture is a large employment subsector of activities. Around 23 of working population is in agriculture, and it's account to around more than 78% of employment in primary sector. For this, Syngenta Foundation aims to create more business opportunity to increase attractiveness of rural area for youth. We are especially develop agri-services program in our portfolio in Senegal, in Mali, in Kenya, in different countries in Africa. And we are very focused in young people entrepreneurial dynamism, and it is a to current model. We are developing two models, especially for young, the farmers up models and the mechanization service center for model. In this map, you can see where we are. We have our activities in Senegal. Not working. Okay. As I say, we have two models we have developed to increase youth employment. The first model is the mechanization service center. If you look at the agriculture, you see the lack of mechanization is very crucial to increase the yield here in Africa. At the same moment, mechanization is a real opportunity to create a solid business for young people. It's why we are putting in place the mechanization service center as a multifunctional center to give service provision to the farmers. Typically, the mechanization service center is an enterprise where we employed youth as managers, booking agent, as conductor or pointer. The mechanization service centers have different equipment and infrastructure financed by credits. At the beginning, we have put in place a guarantee fund in the local agricultural bank to facilitate the access to the machinery, because the machinery is very expensive, and when we see generally young people have not enough guarantee to access to the credits. The mechanization service center is also a platform of innovation where we try to introduce local lot of digital application as Hello Tractor. Hello Tractor is an application for booking and management of the business of machinery. Also, we have developed an application called Rice Advice, when a youth can give service for fertilizer utilization to the farmers, and also e-farmer hub, which is a business management tools. Another model we have developed is especially for vegetable is farmers hub model. The farmers hub model is one-stop service platform for smallholder farmers to access all the inputs like seedlings, like fertilizer, or seeds to give to the farmers. The farmers ensure access to quality input and small mechanization and knowledge, because also the manager of the farmers, who is young people, is give also skills and training to the farmers around the farmers up. Since 2018, we have developed many initiatives. The first of initiative we have developed in partnership with CTA and Africa Rice is Unprice. Unprice is a project promoting youth entrepreneurship for job creation, especially in rice value chain. In this project, we have provided a solution for real employment, developing skills, facilitating access to financing and services in this value chain. In the mechanization service center, actually, we have put in place 7 SEMA, as we call mechanization service center is SEMA, currently actually working in Senegal, and we are developing 16 new SEMA for this year. The SEMA access to credit, as I say, we have a guarantee fund. We have 0.8 million USD facilitated to access to the machinery in collaboration with the local agricultural bank, and we have 50,000 farmers benefiting to the mechanization service center with young people here in Senegal, but we have the same model in Mali. The different services, mechanization service give is generally land preparation, soil preparation, harvesting, plowing, and some digital services like rice advice for the farmers, and also young people engaged in the SEMA are also booking agent to research the market for the SEMA. Typically, we have created more than 69 permanent jobs in this 7 SEMA working, and 200 temporary jobs, also young people who are accessing to job. For the model of Farmers Up, we are setting up 13 Farmers Up currently. The Farmers Up serve around 2,000 farmers accessing to the services like seedlings, inputs, and also buying and selling products. The number of jobs we are creating is 61 permanent jobs, and we are also in these 2 models integrates the innovation and digital. Because we have conscience that the digital is a real lack to facilitate access to inputs, access to credit and skills, and we have introduced different technology to fill the gap in terms of good agricultural practices. We have 25 young service providers working in the rice advices mobile application to give farmers good agricultural practices, and also we have facilitated the setting up of e-farmers up to enhance the business model in terms of digital.
All right. Thank you, Alassane. Unfortunately, we do not have enough time to go to the rest of the slides, but we are approaching the Q&A session, which will also give you an opportunity to talk a bit more. We would like to also hear from our participants and also for them to get to ask any questions that they might have or seek clarification from your presentation. And I'd like to hand over to Dixon Naftali, who will handle this particular segment. And yeah, just to help kick things off, for Millicent, there's a question on how do you feel from your perspective as a youth agripreneur, how we as different partners, development organization can help youth agripreneurs better build back. Just food for thought, and then Dixon will handle the other questions from the chat. So over to you, Dixon.
Thanks. So on the chat, there's also a question for Alassane, and Vanessa of Agra is asking, Vanessa Adanji is asking, can you share how many smallholder farmers are using the digital system, Alassane?
Yeah, actually, the digital system is using by young manager in farmers, not directly the farmers, but the manager of the farmers who is a young people. And with the digital, he can give services to the farmers. Depending of his needs, he can give services for fertilizer using for good agricultural practices or for business. Okay. Actually, we have 13 farmers using this application.
Okay, that's very interesting, Alassane. So as we wait for more questions to come, this forum, this platform is normally more about members sharing and bringing in perspectives of the work that they're doing, telling us about what platforms exist, who's doing what where. So I would like to just open it up for that. But before that, I would like to bring in Mani from Syngenta Foundation to just talk about the ecosystem model, the mapping that Generation Africa is doing in Senegal, and very briefly, what we are looking at achieving and the collaborations that we are looking forward to. So after Mane, I would like to hear from other organizations. I can see a number of organizations that are represented here. There's MasterCard Foundation, for example. I would want to hear anything from Jahazi. Maybe Jahazi, David, you can tell us a bit of the work that you're doing, if landscape is already tilting, in which countries are you focusing? Then we can also have Victor Mugo of Nourishing Africa. You can tell us in a very short way some of the things that are happening in your space. And then I also welcome Jen Lowikizuka of USAID, to ask a question or tell us something about the missions. You have put some questions here. You can as well talk to them, Jen Lowikizuka. So we start with the money. We go to Jahazi of MasterCard Foundation. We go to Victor of Nourishing Africa, and then we finish that session with Jen Lowikizuka. Over to you, Mani.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Dixon, for giving me the word. So as you might know, so last year we had already its members group call, and we had 6 of them. Well, yeah, 7 with a special one on COVID-19. And we asked ourselves the question on how to strengthen national ecosystem that supports young entrepreneurs to drive inclusive growth in the agri-food sector. And all these different calls were the basis for starting to build like a framework, ecosystem framework. And we have been on a journey now to hire a consultant to perform to further strengthen the ecosystem framework and then to test it in Senegal. So we have been publishing our terms of reference. I think we've been notified by email also from Henry, and we're currently in the final round of selection of our consultant. And we will be starting the work sometime in June. And you will be also invited at some point to contribute, because we hope to present some of the findings to this group at some point during the process. So, well, this is just to update you very briefly. And of course, if there is any interest around this topic from any of you, please reach out directly to both Henry and myself, and we can see how to include you in this process. And yes, so very looking forward to hearing from you if there is anything else to add.
Thank you very much, Mani. We can go to Jahazi.
Thank you so much, Dixon. Really grateful to be here. Thank you so much even for the presentations and great insights, a lot of insights coming in through. I think what I can say, just a quick highlight as you've asked, Dixon, is that first of all, as a foundation, we are in the process of reimagining our work, where we are actually reviewing our approach on Young Africa Works in Kenya to basically understand and take advantage of the emerging themes, especially given what we are learning and what is happening in the lives of young people, and much of it related to a lot of shifts and the COVID-19 pandemic related changes and effects. So a lot of that work has actually also included us talking to young people. And we've constantly since last year, the last quarter of last year, been engaging with a lot of young people and getting their views. And some of the things that actually we've shared here are common and are things that we've also heard from young people. And this is amazing. The other thing is, under Young Africa Works, we're still committed to reaching and creating dignified and fulfilling work that the young people are able to, to see and be happy about. And agriculture is at the heart of that. And I saw, especially a presentation from one of the presenters. We were saying that agriculture is actually a second employer, and that's true. Even in Kenya, when you look at and what the opportunities are there, agriculture plays a key role. So we are really focused on agriculture, and we have our foot in there. And then the other thing I wanted to highlight, Dixon, is that we are still particularly focused on supporting young women who form 70% of our target, because we know, the role of the women in the community, and also be on the other side how the society and the economic opportunities are forgotten the girl child. So we're also keen on that. So I think that's all I wanted to highlight at this particular time. But just to appreciate the insights coming through, I look forward to the data that you'll share from the survey that you've done. That was very, very inciting, and especially when you think about rural youth, some of the data coming through are also telling us that young people are overtrained and under-mentored. And that is even worse when you go to the rural areas. When you think about high cost of internet, lack of electricity, and even as was described, that young people in the rural areas are forgotten. So we are very keen to make sure that we leave no young person behind. But thank you so much. That's all I can share for now.
Well, thank you so much, Jahazi. That's really insightful, and it's good to know that we are aligned. We are following the path that leads to that strengthening of that ecosystem for the young people in the rural areas, as well as in the urban areas. Just that today we are deep diving into rural side of things. So the next person was Victor. Victor, please keep it very short. Victor Mugo of Nourishing Africa.
Thank you so much, Dixon, and to the whole team for this opportunity. So my name is Victor Mugo from Nourishing Africa. We are a digital platform, and our work really is to support agripreneurs, agri-food entrepreneurs across the value chain. So I really am enthused by the presentations that have been made, and thank you so much for making these available to us, and also hearing a perspective from especially a young agripreneur. I think as people in the space, sometimes we try to assume things goals, and it's just good to hear from the horse's mouth about the challenges that they're facing. And so this goes also in line with the survey that you've already undertaken. And so we really appreciate that. And so looking forward to engaging more on that. From Nourishing Africa, I think one of the updates that I could make is that we are still working on the Youth in Agriculture Coalition, and we have been working on this for quite a while and really thinking about it. We have presented this to the action track leaders of the UN Food System Summit, and it's gaining traction and also gaining, I think, the required visibility. So we will keep you updated on this and how this goes, because we really do appreciate the kind of members that we have here and the organizations that they represent. So we look forward to engaging more with you after this. So if in case you would want to reach out on how you can be able to be part of this coalition, but also how you can be able to support this coalition, you can also reach out to me. So thanks so much for this opportunity.
Oh yes, definitely, Victor. You know, all these people that are on this call are pro-youth organizations. They're organizations that are focusing on the work on youth, so they'll fit in very well into the coalition that we are trying to come up with in a collaboration. So let's go to Jane.
I'm here. Thank you so much. And hi, Victor. Good to hear your voice. And hello, everybody else. I echo what he said. It's so wonderful to hear from young people directly, to hear about the survey, to hear about all the great progress. And look, it's excellent. I wanted to also throw in the mix that the US has been working also on the approach to the Food Systems Summit. And as I've mentioned in some of our meetings in the past and have had some follow-up conversations with some of you, one of the things that has been put forward is the idea of setting a high-level goal for better jobs or better livelihoods for young people in food systems by 2030, which is really about sort of strengthening collaborations and synergies to accelerate progress. So I think we're getting closer to actually getting behind that, and at which time I would come back to many of you about including Generation Africa as a whole on what that would look like concretely. So I am interested to hear also reactions also still on setting a high level target that we would be accountable for and work in some specific countries on. But related to that, all of the important things that have been done to inform the approach to ecosystem strengthening, I know are grounded in research and considerations. But my question in the chat box also was about what any of you thinks sort of the level of diagnostics is at this point in any specific country that looks at the prospects for better jobs, including in the food system over the next 10 years and beyond, in ways that would inform whether we are working together well enough to utilize our scarce resources to drive some accelerated progress. So all of the types of things that we are putting forward here that we're doing, they're all good, but what do they add up to collectively, and how could we strengthen that collective impact? So the question was really about sort of diagnostics, about where do we think, do we have a direction that looks at scale? But also I wanted to ask about sort of our collective impact, and if you think there are ways we could even further be strengthening at a country level and holding ourselves and partners accountable. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jane. Actually, if we get an answer to that question, then our work at the members group will be half done already. So what I'll do is I'll give a chance to anybody who has any perspective to that question that Jane has asked, us coming together and collectively measuring our results to achieve a collective objective and making sure that it happens, that it comes out with an outcome. So as we get that perspective, maybe it will just be one because the time is really up. I'll also line up Fadel Ndiame to just give us this is the Deputy President at AGRA, to just give us some closing remarks, in a very short way. So first of all, anybody who has a perspective to what Jane asked, and then Fadel to close for us the meeting. It's unfortunate that it's a 1 hour meeting. I wish we had more time. So anybody who wants to jump in? Anyway, since we are really approaching the top of the hour, I think we can start with that during our next call, because it's really thought-provoking. Let's think about that, and then we kick it off in the next members call. So I'll want to invite you, Fadel, to just say a word or two to close for us the meeting. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. I mean, I have to say, I mean, that it's fascinating to listen to this conversation. And I think the last question asked by the colleague from USAID should be probably the basis of the engagement moving forward. I think we don't have a lot of time, but I can offer that we do have existing platform, starting with PIATA, the Partnership for Inclusive Agricultural Transformation, AGRF, in which your platform is playing a significant role, especially giving the voice to the youth, but also bringing out some of the innovative experience taking place across the continent. I think thinking about synergy and how do we deliberately work to make sure that 1 + 1 = 10 is basically the gist of the game. So look forward to further engagement and continue this discussion. But thank you very much, Natalia and colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fadel. I think you've said it very well. We have some platforms. These two are very strong platforms. The AGRF, this time we want to go, as Generation Africa, we want to go into AGRF with some the partners here on the members group. So we'll start consolidating, and I hope that we can get a chance in the next members group call to just consolidate some of these insights that we are seeing on the members group, other than just putting them in a discussion paper, but taking them to a platform and discussing them out in the big platform at the AGRF. So I would like to thank everybody for participating, and thank you very much for thought-provoking insights. Very good. Thanks for the presenters. Thanks for the presentations and everything. The members group chat will continue, bringing you a lot of more information of the work that we are continuing to do, especially in the research space, so that you can see some of the knowledge that is coming out. And so I wish I had a chance to even give Vanessa a chance to talk, but looks like time is not on our side. Over to you, Amanda, to make any announcements, and then we close.
Thank you, and also thank you for everyone else for allowing us the extra time. So Millicent had alluded to the Gogetters Competition, which she participated in last year. And I'm happy to announce that this year we are currently having the call for applications. The deadline is June 14th. So for those of us who are interested or might know someone who is interested, I will put the link in the chat. I encourage each and every person to either promote this opportunity or encourage someone you know to take part in this opportunity. And with that, I have no further remarks. I do appreciate the presence of our colleague, Sophie Nabuliri. She's currently under the weather, but she's also been greatly part of this team. So Dixon, I will hand it back to you to officially close it. Thank you all for your time.
Thanks, Amanda. We are really done. Thanks for the chat conversation. We will capture what is on the chat, and as all this will consolidate the discussion paper for this call, and we'll be sharing this with you. Thank you all for your time, and yeah, see you next time.